First at noon, this week marks 133 years since the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian kingdom, and thousands are taking part in an annual peace march to reflect on the events of that day. The annual Onipa'a Peace March commemorates Queen Lili'uokalani's forced removal from the throne on January 17, 1893. The march started at the Mauna Kea Royal Mausoleum in Nu'uanu, the burial place of Hawaiian royalty, and ended at Iolani Palace, where there will be food, speeches, and live music until 3 p.m. Participants say this year they are marching to protect Kamehameha schools and Mauna Kea and marching against new land leases for the military. We're going to have much more on this story online and on later editions of Hawaii News Now. Big Island police say alcohol is believed to be a factor in last night's deadly head-on crash in Hilo. It happened at around 6:30 last night on Hawaii Belt Road near the Hikina Place intersection. Police say a man driving an F-150 was speeding when he crossed the center line and slammed into another truck. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the other truck, a 46-year-old woman from Laupahoehoe, was rushed to the hospital, and she is expected to survive. This is Hawaii County's second traffic death of 2026. About 200 nurses and other specialty workers at Kaiser Permanente say they're planning to walk off the job. The strike is set to begin on Monday, January 26th. The workers here are joining thousands more in California in the action. The United Nurses Association of California and the Union of Healthcare Professionals are leading a strike at more than 24 hospitals. Now, this follows a 5-day work stoppage back in October after the workers' contract expired the month prior. Organizers say they are looking for respect at the bargaining table, along with fair wages and safe staffing levels. Kaiser says it will remain open and operational throughout the strike. President Trump suggested today that he may put tariffs on countries that don't back his plan to control Greenland. A bipartisan group of lawmakers traveled to Denmark today to show support for the Danish territory. Erica Brown has the latest details from Capitol Hill.
President Trump suggested a pressure tactic Friday he may use in his push to acquire Greenland.
I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security.
It comes the same day that a bipartisan group of congressional lawmakers visited Denmark to, quote, lower the temperature on the rhetoric aimed at the NATO ally.
We spoke about the value of NATO and the commitment to respecting the core principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and self-determination.
Greenland is a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark. This week, European nations sent small numbers of additional troops to the strategically located island at Denmark's request. Reporters in Denmark asked U.S. lawmakers how they could intervene if President Trump actually tries to take over Greenland. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski pointed to Congress's power to control federal spending.
Greenland needs to be viewed as our ally, not as an asset.
On another hot-button foreign policy issue, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado praised President Trump Friday for the U.S. capture of former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
It took a lot of courage to do what he did. And he did it, yes, on behalf of the American people, but also because he cares for the people of Venezuela.
The comment comes a day after Machado gave Trump her Nobel Peace Prize medallion. The president called that a wonderful gesture, but has not endorsed Machado to be Venezuela's next president. Erica Brown, Hawaii News Now.
Here at home, shock and frustration at the state capitol as lawmakers learn of cost increases and delays for state construction projects. As Daryl Huff reports, the governor's administration is looking for a new strategy to manage these high-profile contracts.
From their offices in the state capitol, lawmakers don't have to look very far to find big trouble with state facilities. The Capitol pool renovation is facing long delays and cost overruns. And right across the street, the state health department is going to have to be evacuated this summer. The state is losing obsolete Kinahalai's battle with asbestos. And to keep employees safe, Health Director Kenny Fink told lawmakers today about 550 workers will move from the building into 2 downtown office towers.
And we now have learned the cost is $3 million for these leases per year.
Plans to replace Kinahalai, for example, with the vacant Hawaii Pacific University campus in Kaneohe, have been raised and dropped for over a decade. The committee saying the cost of leases could buy a new building.
We really got to figure out a long-term solution because this is going to cost us more in the long run.
The bad news about the Capitol pools is that contract disputes will push completion well into 2027.
We were looking at November 2026. Okay. That is out. We're never going to hit that.
What kind of impact are we looking at on that?
It is a substantial impact, but I won't try to make you feel good about that. Okay, it is substantial.
He estimates the $29 million project will cost 15% more, and the cost for the glass panels instead of real water will rise 25%.
And that has to do with tariffs and so forth.
And there's the convention center's leaking roof.
And now the costs have gone up to
$87 million is the construction costs compared at 2 years compared to the 1 year budget at $51 million.
That whopping $36 million increase was attributed to former Tourism Authority CFO Isaac Choi struggling to get the bid out on time and limit the work to 1 year. But bidders said it would take 2.
the project is the project, whether it takes 1 year or 2 years.
I
But to
disagree.
fix it, so he cannot understand why it's now $87 million.
I agree and disagree. The only thing that changed was the timeline. And anyone knows labor costs for a 1 year project moving to a 2 year project is not going to stay the same.
With the new Aloha Stadium also taking longer than expected, the state is considering a special projects unit to manage unusual jobs.
Because the legislature has made it clear that they didn't want to see consultants managing consultants on state projects. And I agree with that 100%.
While it's tempting to blame mismanagement and red tape for all of these problems, another big factor is uncertainty about Washington and across the world economy. And those are not things that the folks in this building can fix. Reporting from the state capitol, Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Daryl. In a move to reduce traffic deaths, some lawmakers want to put drivers to the test again. The Honolulu City Council has adopted a resolution encouraging the state legislature to require written tests for renewing a license.
And the public has put it on us in this interim to really come back this legislative session, putting traffic safety at top of mind, but not just for motorists, for pedestrians alike, right? It's for every shared road user that exists on our roadways. How do we make it safer for everyone?
Well, I think eye tests are a #1 positive, but written tests, unless you've got a bad driving record, I don't think there's a cause for it, really.
The City Council adopted a resolution yesterday encouraging the legislature to bring back renewal tests, which were phased out in 1997.
Aloha on this Friday. A cool, dry air mass has settled in over the state, so it's very chilly across the state this morning, and we'll see a lot of sunshine today. There's not much rain out there, and we got some breezy winds already. Look at the winds, and notice the direction, mostly out of the north. That's why it is so chilly out there. So it's going to be a chilly start to today as well as tomorrow. Lots of sunshine expected, though, and with the breezy winds, the ocean's a little chopped up, and if we get any rain, it might happen in the overnight hours for windward areas.
Thank you, Guy. A group in charge of building a new state agency to manage Mauna Kea wants to know what you think. The agency is halfway through its 5-year startup phase, and as Ben Gutierrez says, members on a statewide tour are getting feedback.
The community workshop here in Maili is meant to guide the Mauna Kea Stewardship and Oversight Authority in setting its priorities for the Mauna.
The most important thing that we are doing tonight is to hear from you. Whatever we say is not as important as your mana'o and what you have to say.
The 12-member state board looking for feedback was established in 2022, in part because of the protests that blocked construction of the 30-meter telescope at Mauna Kea summit. The board will assume full responsibility for the summit in 2.5 years.
If something came on tomorrow for TMT, it wouldn't come to us. It would go to the bodies that now govern that. As of July 1, 2028, it will come to us. And our job right now is to be prepared for that day.
Some Native Hawaiians came to the workshop with a mix of skepticism and optimism, including Sparky Rodriguez, who stayed on Mauna Kea for 6 months.
There's this commonality of oppression and abuse of the lands and the people. And now we're trying a little bit to get some of that back. And I think it's important that we're participating and having a voice, but it's taken so long.
Even those who may not accept the state's authority appear willing to be part of the process.
This is the truth of history. You cannot exist, but you're here now. So how can you help us? How can we help each other to do the best we can do for the Mauna?
All we were able to do was very limited, unless you make the people over there on the other side that you're the boss and that they should listen to you. So more power to you all in exercising your voice.
We're not being that explicit, but what if there was a gate? What if we lock things up at sunset? You know what? That is us. We get to make those decisions. We don't have to go to anybody else.
Everything the board hears in this series of meetings will be used to create policies that reflect the will of the people, a collective effort to solve some of Hawaii's most divisive issues.
I hope this can set the framework for other contentious issues that we have to face here in the state of Hawaii.
9 more workshops are scheduled around the state. You can find the list on our website and mobile app. In Ma'ili, Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Ben. Ahead on This Is Now, tensions continue to escalate in Minnesota as the actions of ICE agents are drawing widespread criticism. Plus, a frozen library of the Earth's past. Scientists hope a newly built ice sanctuary in Antarctica will help preserve glacier samples for centuries. We'll be right back. World War II veteran and longtime presence at the Pearl Harbor National Memorial has died. The Pacific Historic Park shared in a Facebook post this morning that John Gleason passed away yesterday, surrounded by loved ones. He was working as a shipyard laborer when the attack happened in 1941 and signed up to join the Army after. He moved to Honolulu in 1972 and co-founded the Pacific Aviation Museum in 1999. Gleason was 102 years old. President Trump renewed his call for Minnesota's elected officials to do more to quell the anti-ICE protests. Yesterday, he threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act and send in federal troops. And as Ian Lee shows us, violent confrontations between protesters and ICE agents are happening on a daily basis.
Destiny Jackson was driving her family home from basketball practice Wednesday night when they got caught between protesters and ICE agents in Minneapolis.
Everybody's seeing what happened with Renee.
Officers started yelling at them to move. Before they could, Jackson says the agents released a canister of tear gas under the car.
Within seconds, there was a big boom and our car was up in the air and we slammed down.
The mom of 6 says strangers helped get her family out of the car. The last, her 6-month-old baby boy.
And he was like lifeless, foam or bubbles coming out of his mouth. I had to give him mouth-to-mouth and CPR. And all I remember is like between every breath I was saying, I'm gonna give you every breath I have until you get yours back.
Accounts like Jackson's are piling up and drawing widespread criticism of how ICE agents are going about their stated objective, arresting and deporting people who are in the U.S. illegally.
Just the tip of the iceberg.
Democratic Congress members held an unofficial hearing in St. Paul where they heard from 20-year-old Mubashir, a U.S. citizen who was detained while on his lunch break.
They dragged me outside and put me into a headlock on the ground. I repeated, I'm a citizen, I have an ID. The agent kept saying, that don't matter.
Earlier this week, vandals smashed a federal vehicle and took items out of it. At the White House, President Trump reiterated he's willing to invoke the Insurrection Act to stop the violence.
I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it.
CBS News has obtained internal DHS data that shows throughout the United States, ICE has more than 70,000 people facing deportation in its custody, the most in the agency's 23-year history. Ian Lee, CBS News, Minneapolis.
And let's take a live look outside with our tower cam. Beautiful conditions on this Aloha Friday. We made it to the weekend, everybody. Guys, gonna have your full forecast coming up in 2 minutes.
First Alert Weather with Guy Huggy.
Happy Aloha Friday, everybody. A cool, dry air mass is filling in behind that juicy front that brought some rain to the state a couple days ago. And then another front is due in maybe the middle of next week. But until then, we'll have fairly dry conditions and chilly temperatures in the overnight and early morning hours especially. We're down into the low 60s for some areas this morning. And those winds already pretty strong, right? And they'll be getting stronger throughout the day, and they will hold firm and be breezy through the weekend. So get ready for this. It's going to be a nice cold start to today as well as tomorrow. We're still expecting lots of sunshine. This is basically the weather pattern that we'll see through the weekend, and those winds will still run firm, 15 to 25 miles an hour. So it's going to be quite chilly for the next couple of days, which ain't all that bad. High surf warning continues for north and west shores until this evening. This swell will slowly be dropping, but through the day today, it's going to be big, it's going to be dangerous, and for the most part, unsurfable for most everybody. But for the big wave surfers, if the winds shift around more to the northeast, it could clean up in the afternoon, 1 to 3 in town, and the east shores will likely be picking up because of those stronger winds. So we got some beautiful weather going through the weekend. In fact, for most of the next several days should be pretty nice with breezy winds until Monday. That's when the winds slow down and heads up. Like I said, we are expecting another cold front to drop in and bring in more rain Wednesday and Thursday.
Thank you, Guy. As glaciers disappear around the globe, scientists are scrambling to save what they can. A new effort in Antarctica is freezing time to preserve our planet's future. Tina Kraus explains.
Glaciers around the world are melting faster than ever, taking centuries of climate history with them.
We are melting those archives. We are losing an important resource, which is water, but we are also losing our memory.
So scientists are drilling deep to preserve the past, pulling out ice cores from glaciers, packed with clues about our climate, layers that tell stories of temperature, snowfall, and even volcanic activity.
I just follow you.
This week, researchers sealed the first frozen treasures inside a newly built ice sanctuary in Antarctica. A snow cave carved deep underground at a frigid minus 61 degrees, cold enough to preserve them for centuries for future scientists.
Imagine a researcher from Asia in the year 2090 who has discovered a substance that serves as a new and precise indicator for monsoon activity. She could measure this in an ice core and look back in time.
Researchers hope the vault will one day hold ice from glaciers across the world, from the Andes to the Himalayas, before they vanish completely.
We plan to retrieve the ice and store it in Antarctica for the future generation of scientists.
A frozen library of the Earth's past, waiting for future scientists to unlock its lessons. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Still to come, a new virtual reality experience launched today at Pearl Harbor National Memorial, but as Casey Lund tells us, its creator is only 12 years old. We have that story coming up in today's Good News Now. powerful lesson in history and innovation is unfolding today at Pearl Harbor. A 12-year-old raised more than $110,000 to create a virtual reality experience designed to teach future generations about December 7th. Casey Lund takes us there.
Well, 4 years ago, a young man from North Carolina was assigned a school project that eventually led him here to the USS Arizona Memorial. That experience ignited a passion and a mission to use technology, virtual reality, to make sure his generation never forgets the story and sacrifice of the greatest generation.
Hi, I'm Harrison Johnson. I'm in 3rd grade.
We first introduced you to Harrison Johnson when he was just 8 years old.
Most of my generation don't know a lot about Pearl Harbor.
On behalf of Mayor Blangiardi, he has declared that today is Harrison Johnson Day.
4 years later and a couple feet taller, Harrison is 12 now and has raised just over $110,000, knocking on doors, speaking to community groups and rallying support, all to help preserve the history of Pearl Harbor.
I truly feel incredible. I am so blessed to be able to preserve these stories for generations to come through this VR experience.
That effort culminated today at Pearl Harbor National Memorial with the launch of Harrison's Heroes, a virtual reality experience designed to immerse students in the events of December 7th. The unveiling was timed at 8:06 a.m., the exact moment the first bomb struck, following colors and a moment of silence.
I couldn't be more proud to have the opportunity to facilitate this and to be able to share it with the public that come here at Pearl Harbor.
And so Harrison does stand out amongst a lot of the people that we meet. And his age alone kind of highlights the possibilities of what we need to do as next generations to keep the story going.
The program allows students to stand on the deck of the USS Arizona, see the harbor as it appeared in 1941, and follow the stories of real sailors and Marines, all through virtual reality.
It was truly incredible. It felt like everything had come full circle from the first time I came to this memorial.
For Harrison's family, this moment was emotional, watching years of work finally come to life.
It was definitely a humbling experience. He always talks about the art of the possible, and to see that come to fruition was just, I'm so proud of him. He worked very, very hard.
State leaders and park officials say Harrison's work stands out, not just because of his age, but because of what it represents for the next generation.
This is an impressive young man, and I think for each and every one of us, how fortunate are we that when we think about the next generation of people, we have Harrison that we can use as an example.
For Harrison, today was never about recognition. It was about honoring those who served and making sure their stories live on.
Thank you, all of you, for being here. Thank you for believing in this mission. Thank you for honoring the heroes who gave everything. May God bless the heroes of Pearl Harbor. May God bless the families, the great state, and all who remember them. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Well, for now, this VR experience is only available at the Pearl Harbor Visitor Center, so you have to come here and check it out. But eventually, Harrison's Heroes has plans to roll it out worldwide. Reporting at Pearl Harbor, I'm Casey Lund for Hawaii News Now.
Thank you for watching. This is Now More News first at 4 right here on KHNL.